In this video, we shall work with equations. We are given equations of a parabola in general form. Our goal is to write it in standard form. The standard form is also what you call the vertex form. And you know why it's called the vertex form? Because the equation must show the vertex of our parabola. So our general form for a parabola would be something like this. When our axis is vertical, it's going to be y squared plus dy plus ex plus f is equal to 0 when our axis is horizontal. When our axis is vertical, it can open down or open up depending on the value of a. It's the same with our parabola when its axis is horizontal. It can either open to the left or right, again, depending on the value of a. So when we write a general equation to standard form, this is how it's going to look like. You also call this the vertex form because hk are the coordinates of your vertex. It's the same with this one. So hk would be the coordinates of your vertex. The key to writing an equation in general form to standard form is completing the square. I will not describe to you how it's done. I will not explain to you how it's done. What I'm going to do is I will do it, and I'm hoping you would know how to do completing the square. So we are given this equation. So this one is a parabola whose axis is horizontal. Our goal is to write it in this form. What would be h, k, and what would be a? We begin by separating these two terms. The y in one side, the x, and the constant term in the other side. So the next step is the first step for completing the square, the most important step, or the critical step, so to speak. Where did this come from? Okay, look at that. That's -6. That is actually the coefficient of our linear term. The coefficient of our linear term here is -6. What did we do? We divide it by 2, we squared the whole thing, and we added it to these two terms. Why did we do that? Because that is how you do completing the square. This is equal to 9. -3 squared is 9. So we added it here. So we must also add 9 to this side of our equation. We simplified -25 plus 9, that is equal to -16. This one is actually equal to, okay, this term is actually equal to 9, but I left it this way because I want to see -3 there, okay, because I will need -3 there when I write this as the square of a binomial. Y minus 3 squared is equal to, hey, coming from this one, why did I do this? Because this one does not agree with our form. Our form here has a coefficient 1 for x. So this one is -8. We cannot leave it as -8. We must factor out -8 from these two terms. If we are to do that, -8, what will be left here is x plus 2. If you are not sure about your factoring, all you have to do is to multiply -8 back to your binomial. -8 times x is -8x. -8 times 2 is -16. So this is our equation in standard form. Its vertex is -2, 3. Let's do another one. Write this equation in standard form. We shall use completing the square. We begin by separating these terms. All the x's in one side, the y and the constant term in the other side. Pay attention to the coefficient of your linear term. We shall divide it by 2. We shall raise the quotient to 2, and then we shall add it to this 2. This is equal to 1. We added 1 here. We must also add 1 there. So simplifying this one is -37 plus 1, that's -36. This one is x squared plus 2x plus 1. This is now the square of a binomial. And we can write it as the quantity x plus 1 squared. Hey, what did happen here? So we cannot leave this as it is because that does not agree with our form. Our form is the coefficient of y must be 1. So we factor out negative 12 from these two terms. Negative 12, factoring it out, negative 12, what will be left here is y plus 3. Do you want to check if your factoring is correct? Well, all you have to do is multiply negative 12 back to these two terms. Negative 12 times y is that one. Negative 12 times 3 is negative 36. So this now is our equation in standard form. What are the coordinates of our vertex? It's negative 1, negative 3. Let us lay down a summary for parabola. General form, standard form. When what gets squared is x, our axis is vertical. And when a is greater than 0, it opens up. When a is less than 0, it opens down. When our axis is horizontal, when a is greater than 0, it opens to the right. When a is less than 0, it opens to the left.